Well, happy Friday, everybody. I got my internet fixed, so here we are. I'm Attorney Michael Ehline, and I am an attorney licensed in Texas and California, and I do personal injury law, but a lot of you may not know that I'm also an activist. I support the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, and I'm a natural law guy because that's where all American law flows from the concept of natural law, that all law flows from a powerful creator, and that those rights that are granted to you by your creator cannot be taken away. And that's what separates America from the other leviathanic powers that existed prior to America, to these United States of America. And that was John Locke, that was the guy who really was the catalyst. And that was where Thomas Jefferson got a lot of his ideas from, and a lot of our founders got a lot of their ideas from. And so, although I make a living doing catastrophic injury cases and stuff like that, helping people that way, my true love is helping people understand their rights. Because I think that as an American, being born in the spirit of rebellion, that you need to understand your rights and mean to keep them well, because only an honest and wholesome people can truly enjoy the rights that were bestowed upon us by that all-powerful creator. However you want to choose that creator to be, these were rights that gave us individual rights, and the rights of the minority, the rights of the group do not take precedence over the right of the individual. And that's what makes America a beautiful place. And so really quick, we're going to kick off this show tonight. Hey, what's up, Kurt? Good seeing you, buddy. We're going to do a lawyer reaction video in a minute to another lawyer, a young gal who seems really nice. I think it's an older video. She calls it a motion for finding of factual innocence, and that's okay. It's really called a petition, and we're going to get into that, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, because I have so many people giving me a hard time about, hey, Chile DeCastro, he can't be found innocent. It's either guilty or not guilty, and then all these people have their own ideas about guilty, not guilty. And again, I don't know about Chile's case in Nevada. I know that in California, I don't believe that a finding of factual innocence would come into play after you win an appeal. I haven't done one like that yet. I have a test bed that I'm trying to work on with a friend of mine that I just was able to help get a case dealt with at the Fullerton courthouse. So the bottom line is, I'm going to go ahead and kick off the show. Hey, Roger, good seeing you, buddy. Love having my friends here, my patriotic friends who come and join me. So I'm going to kick off the show really quick, and then we'll get into this lawyer reaction video about petitions for findings of factual innocence. In other words, if you get arrested by a cop, now you have the smear on your record, right? You have a contact. Or let's say, you got charged, but then the charges got dropped, right? Well, now you have that on your record. Even though there was no conviction, it can prevent you from moving places in this planet, into this world. And just getting records sealed sometimes isn't good enough, especially if you're applying for a government job, or a job maybe with like the FBI or some high security clearance type situation. A finding of factual innocence would be very, very, very persuasive authority to indicate that, hey, you were innocent, right? Because you were. That's what it is. It's a legal, factual finding of innocence. So a lawful, factual finding of innocence. So really quick, let me just kick off my show really fast, and then we'll get into the minutia and talk more about what's going on.
To another edition of Ask Michael Ehline. This is where I teach people the law in an unorthodox manner by using examples that we see in the news, case law briefs, but it's all about exposing the Leviathan and its instrumentalities and taking back your rights. Know the law and mean to keep it well. Come here to learn from an expert to know your right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel.
That's right. The thought police, man. You never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel, especially the Leviathan of Google and YouTube and all those BlackRock corporations and their censorship machine that's designed to control what you believe and what you think. And it's always tilted towards their political end of the spectrum. That is the exact opposite of what our founding fathers wanted. They wanted to have free speech, First Amendment. They wanted to have the ability to say what you want to say, when you want to say it, so long as it's not going to, like cause someone to die. Like, hey, pull the trigger. That's a little different, but you get the idea. Just good, honest speech, being able to say what you want to say when you say it. And these people that are out there engaged in government accountability operations like Chile DeCastro, BZ Watchdog, Long Island Audits, all those guys. And so many of them I could name, but these guys are the ones out there holding the government accountable and pushing the envelope. And that is one of the main reasons why we have a First Amendment. It wasn't just about being able to express your Christian religious freedom. It wasn't just about being able to have the right to talk. It was about government accountability. Thanks, Roger. I appreciate that, man. I could use it too, man. We're having a bad month. $10. That just got me a shot of Patron Silver at the cheapest bar in Nevada. Love you guys. Thanks, Roger. So the finding of factual innocence operates as a way to, if you are engaged in government accountability operations, because in particular, most of my audience are people who believe in government accountability. They don't just believe what they learned in the public schools, that, whatever the government says is true, right? Because that's what their academics were brainwashed to tell them when they got their teaching credentials. See, it all goes downhill, right? It's the academic system. Oh, well, Barack Obama says, and the professor says, and so on. But it's always the academics that control everything once the kids get that K through 12 and then in through college. So they're just automatically programmed to think, whatever the government says is true. And if you disagree, you're a racist, bigot, or a homophobe. That's the new thing, right, guys? Give me a bunch of ones if you understand what I'm talking about. So the idea is these people are kind of like the old schoolers. These are the people who still believe in freedom, in liberty, and they believe in testing because they're pro, right? For, right? Latin, pro testing. They're for testing the government. They're pro testing. They're for testing. They're in support of holding the government accountable. And so the problem is when they do that, a lot of times they'll get falsely arrested. They'll get thrown in jail, prison, shot, beat up. And we see that happening all the time, guys, right? Hey, Roger, you won't even buy a McDonald's hamburger. Hey, man, but it doesn't matter. If I get 4 or 5 super chats a week, that could equal a Happy Meal. I'm just kidding. But no, seriously. Yes, that's right, Jody. I agree. By the way, guys, I apologize the last couple of nights for the terrible internet. I know we had BZ on and we were having a good time, and it just, man, the bandwidth was screwed up. But now I'm back. I'm rolling. I'm jamming. I'm on the Ethernet connection. The lips are moving at the same time as the voice, so we're good to go. I've had a pretty rough day at work, guys. I've been up since dark 30, so just bear with me as we get into this. I'm just trying to give a little bit of time for other people to get into the convo before I start doing the lawyer reaction video. But hey, Jody, a lot of these people are coming on my channel going, hey, just because Chile won his appeal, that doesn't mean that he's innocent. And, they might be right. I don't know about Nevada. I don't even know if a petition for a finding of innocence can be used after you win an appeal. And that's something that I'm working on in California. I'm trying to figure out a way to test that. And we're going to get into this a little bit more. I'm going to let this girl narrate for us. Hold on one second here. I'm watching myself on YouTube over here. So I have this really cool video of this girl. Her name is Attorney Stephanie Prieto. Hold on. Let me get this thing up here. All right. So this is a little bit older. Now, she calls it a motion for a finding of factual innocence. So rather than me try to sit there and tell you everything, I'm going to let her tell you what she knows, and then I'm going to stop her every once in a while and tell you what I know. And if I catch anything that may need a little bit of touching up, right? Because we're all lawyers are different, right? So it's not an insult if I correct her, because she probably has a lot of things about me she'd probably correct too. That's just how we are. But really quick, just so you guys know, before we start the video, this is what it looks like. Okay, this is an actual petition. Let me see if I can blow this up for you some more. All right, I think that's pretty good. I don't know. Can you guys see that pretty good? Give me a bunch of ones if you got a 5x5 on the visual here. So this is kind of cool because, and I don't know if it's as applicable. Hey, what's going on? 3 Classic 1. Woo! The Classic 1. That's what I meant. The Classic 1. Thanks for joining me. Hey, Chevy, thanks for joining me. And that is true. It's all corruption. We all know that. Chevy, Kurt, Brunson, all my main homies are here. Thanks, guys. I already got a super chat up on the board, so I have permission now to stay in this chat a little bit longer and not have to deal with other people in the house tonight. Yay! So let's get into it a little bit about what a petition to seal and destroy adult arrest records is under California Penal Code Section 851.8. So first of all, I'm going to get into the video in a minute, but I just wanted to show you what this looks like. So when I have a case where I was able to get my client off by getting the charges dismissed, right? This is the next thing that I would do. I would want to bring this because I know that my clients might be trying to get a government security clearance, or, you know, they might be trying to get a CCW, and they don't want to have anything on their record that could cause trouble for them. So this is what I would do. I would go and I would fill this bad chicken out. I would do all this stuff. This part here has to be filled out by the police. What you do is you fill out your petition. You send it either to the arresting agency or the DA. I think it's the arresting agency. And then they'll forward it over to the DA. There's different ways you can do it. And then if there's no response, or they do respond within a certain amount of time and say it's okay to grant it, then the judge has the authority to sign off on it. It's not pro forma that the judge is just going to sign off on it, right? But I'll just read you the Penal Code section really quick. Penal Code Section 851.8 provides that a person who has been arrested or detained, let me just make sure we got volume because I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, we're good to go. All right. Basically, it provides that a person who has been arrested or detained and is determined to be factually innocent may petition the law enforcement agency or court having jurisdiction over the matter to provide the sealing or destruction of the record of that arrest. So the bottom line is it's like a two-part process. The first part is you get declared factually innocent, and the second part is you have the arrest records destroyed. Now, you can still have your arrest records sealed without being found factually innocent. Okay, that's a nuance that a lot of people don't understand. But this is the form that you would use to get those records wiped out. Okay, now let's get into this video. Oh, by the way, usually you'll have to do one of those forms if you get pulled over by a traffic cop and then they convict you after they ask you,
"Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they?" Oh, you don't have any papers?
Yeah. Colonel Clink is going to come and take you guys to the clinker. Hey, all right. Roger Lane's got a new member. So plead the fifth, motion to vacate. No. So this is a little bit different. So a petition for a finding of factual innocence is simply that if you were arrested, like falsely arrested, you can petition the arresting agency, or I believe the DA's office to agree that you were never guilty, that you were innocent, that you were actually innocent. And then you can also have it expunged or deleted or whatever they want to call it, taken off your record. They always have a different name for it. Depends on the city and state that you're in. But in California, typically I would have those records destroyed or sealed. But the idea is you don't want to have anything on your CLETS report that shows an arrest or you were stopped or anything like that. And so a finding of factual innocence, not only does it do the sealing or can lead to the sealing, but it's as if you never were arrested at all because you were factually innocent. So let's just watch what I'm going to let Stephanie Prieto talk about. What is a motion for a finding of innocence? She calls it a California motion for factual innocence. That's not really what it is. But let's let her talk about it. And, I'll stop her as I go along. Well, wait, let me look really quick, make sure I don't have any questions. Oh, hey, thanks, man. Right on, dude. Roger Lane just gifted me 5 memberships. So I'll be able now to give out 5 memberships that he got to you guys. So just so you know, in my back channel, I have a lot of other cool videos that I don't share on my public channel. And I'm also going to be offering a discount to people if they want to buy my ebook about how to become a lawyer with no law degree or law school or an undergrad, that kind of thing. That the people who are my channel members, I'll give them a break on the book. It's an ebook, so don't think you're going to get like some big, book with pages in it. Once I get some money together, I'll do that. I'll start doing soft covers. But for now, we're going to go with what we can do, which is digital. But it's a great book. So thanks again, everybody. Let's get into this video, and we'll talk a little bit about motions or petitions for finding a factual innocence.
Motions for factual innocence are governed by Penal Code 851.8. When you are requesting this relief, it means that you're appearing before the court for there to be a finding that you are in fact innocent of the crime that you may have been arrested for, detained, maybe you were charged, but most importantly, you were not convicted. So what you're asking is for the court to find a basis.
So that's the deal. So you can't have been convicted. And so there's a lot of questions among the bar as to whether or not if you win your appeal in California, can you also then petition for a finding of factual innocence? I've had different prosecutors argue it that you could, and other ones argue that you can. I personally think you should be able to. To me, if you win your appeal, that's as if you were innocent, or at least that you were not found guilty. You follow me? So it's just like you were never found guilty. So it shouldn't be an issue to file a petition for a finding of factual innocence. So let's just get into it, and we'll let her tell you what she thinks. It's just a short video.
That essentially the arrest or detention that brought you into the criminal justice system was invalid, that there shouldn't have been an arrest or a detention. As the person requesting this relief, the burden does fall on the petitioner to show that you are factually innocent. And this can be done in a variety of ways. Maybe there's facts, maybe there's witnesses that were overlooked who can provide declarations. You can also just talk about the facts of the surrounding arrest, and that would be put into a motion and presented to the court. If your petition was granted, the police department that had jurisdiction over the arrest and the Department of Defense are required to seal your records for 3 years since the date of the incident. In order to apply for this motion for factual innocence, you have to submit a petition to the original arresting agency. And that original arresting agency can raise an objection. The attorney that is opposing the motion would have to show that there was reasonable cause for the arrest. And it's important to note that you can request a motion for factual innocence in 4 particular scenarios. The first scenario could be that you were detained by officers, but you weren't arrested. Another instance could be you may have been booked and arrested, but then charges were never filed. And the DA might have thrown out the case. The third instance could be that you were arrested and charges were filed, but they were later dismissed. And then lastly, you could also seek this relief if you were arrested, charged, and you went through fighting those charges and were not convicted of them. Then in those instances, you could also seek out a motion for factual innocence. If you need any help or have further questions,
all you have to do is call her, and her name she's with the Neves law firm, and you can see her up on the screen. This is not an endorsement, obviously, but I liked her video, and I like giving people credit where credit's due. It was a good video. I think that she was off on a couple of things. It's not, first of all, it's not a motion, it's a petition. Words do mean things, and so it's just good to stick with the correct jargon if you can. But I screw up sometimes too, so no big deal. Good video. Give me a bunch of ones for, let's see, what was her name again? She's with the Neves firm, and I'm going to see if I can find her name on here. It looks like her name is Joanna at the Neves firm. So she's pretty cool. I like her. I liked her video. I'd like to have her on my show if I could, because I think she has a good prezo. All right, man. Yeah, man. V Classic 1, thank you. And yes, hey, Ruby. Ruby, you kind of look like Kamala. Is that, wow. I thought I had a politician in here for a second. I was getting scared. Thanks for joining me. I hope they didn't take that as an insult, Ruby. Sometimes I joke around, but it's never personal, and it's never intended to be ad hominem. Care about everybody, especially the people in my sidebar. So now we just saw a little bit about, the California finding of factual innocence, right? So I found this other cool video I'm going to play for you. This is in Oklahoma. So somebody get a hold of Here's the Deal and tell him to pop his head in if you see Brian. This is just a cool video that I found. It's Oklahoma, so I'm sure they have a different way that they declare people factually innocent in Oklahoma. Well, let's check it out and see how it was in Oklahoma.
It was the longest serving wrongful conviction in U.S. history. Glenn Simmons spent 48 years in prison for a murder he did not commit. He was exonerated earlier this year, and this month, attorneys have filed a new motion on his behalf. Allie Meyer has been covering this case for 20 years.
Back in July, Glenn Simmons walked out of court a free man.
One of the guiding principles.
And then last month, the district attorney, Vicky Bahena, announced she was dropping the 1975 murder charge against Glenn Simmons.
Just because the district attorney is choosing not to pursue the charges, that doesn't necessarily mean they're saying we believe Glenn is innocent.
And so Simmons has filed a motion for a judge to declare him actually innocent.
Even though everybody knows he was wrongfully imprisoned for 48 years, this is the last hoop we have to jump through in state court to get him to be able to get the compensation he deserves.
A finding of actual innocence will pave the way for a lawsuit down the road to get compensation for the 48 years Simmons spent behind bars on a wrongful conviction.
For John, he's been practicing almost 50 years. I've been practicing for only 4 years, but the greatest day was watching Glenn's shackles come off.
I mean, that's wild to me. That's wild to me. That dude was locked up. So all you people that think that the law enforcement and prosecutors are like these, like somehow grew wings and became angels, you don't understand the administrative state and what it has evolved to become, how it has evolved and to become what it is. See, the original public servant was an honorable person who didn't do it to try and make money or gain positions of power. It was about public service. But now you have a totally different animal. You have people who become officers based on how much revenue they can bring in, how many busts they can make. And then they can do the same thing. If you're a prosecutor, you do make enough busts. You saw the thing with Camel Toe Harris with the marijuana thing. Like, she admitted that she smoked weed while she was locking people up and putting them in prison for smoking weed while she was, I guess, the Attorney General of California when she was hooking up with Montel Williams and his girlfriend. Remember that? Wild stuff, right? But that's not just exclusive to her. That's just the political beast in general, the modern political animal. Give me a bunch of ones if you kind of understand what I'm talking about. It just seems like they're just looking for that next position of power. They don't really, like judges. Like, it used to be people would want to get on the bench, do their 20 and retire, whatever it was. I think it's 20. And now, more often than not, they're trying to find a way to get off the bench as soon as they get a popular case, a big case that gets them on the news. Then all of a sudden they're over at CNN, and that seems to be the gig. So there's a political gig too, guys. There's not just the Uber and Lyft gig. There is the administrative state gig. And typically it's family. You'll notice that, like with the post office, it's always the same people, family members and friends. They all work at the same post offices, and a lot of nepotism that happens there. And of course, they're the ones who, decide elections, because they're the ones who get to carry the ballots. So they literally get to decide who wins elections now. So they have a lot of power. And I think that a lot of people are starting to understand what's going on in the administrative state. So, you scratch their back and they'll scratch yours, right, guys? I mean, it's only logical. It's only logical if you have an IQ of over 90 that's what politicians will do, and their friends will help each other. Because it's not who votes, it's who counts the votes that counts. So in this particular case, this dude was locked up for 50 years, and there was a fresh 4-year attorney, and she got to work on this case from law school, and she was able to really do some amazing stuff as a fresh lawyer. And now we have, Actually, the other attorney was practicing law for 50 years, but let's keep watching this thing. I'm just blown away. This is a short one too.
In court, that was moving for both of us. And then if we could sit in court and hear a judge find that Glenn is innocent and that he gets to go forward in his life knowing that, I think that would be the cherry on top of all of this.
Oklahoma state law limits exonerated individuals to $175,000 in compensation. For Glenn Simmons.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, locked up like almost all your life and all you get is 175 grand? I mean, just imagine. So the statute of limitations probably is expired, right, to sue for civil rights violations. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you could argue you were locked up and it was told because now you were found innocent, right? But in this particular case, you know, Oklahoma has probably a different legal scheme of how a finding of innocence is handled and how it can be done and what are the qualifying ways that you can obtain the relief. And in this particular case, I'm sure it's a little bit different than it is in California. But man, what a bummer. Could you guys imagine? Give me a bunch of ones if you think it's ridiculous that this dude is only going to get 175 grand after being locked up and having his freedom taken away almost all of his life. I mean, can you imagine that? And Kurt Bronson's right, by the way. He says, increase revenue and profits as much as possible, win for them, but times 10 lose for everyone else. Yeah, and that's the problem with the administrative Leviathan. And if there was a way to get people in power who had their own businesses and just wanted to work for maybe 6 months in politics and then go back home and run their businesses, I think that would be the best example. Not take a salary, you know, have insider trading laws that have teeth, really curtail this paid lobbying thing. These guys going into office with 10 grand in the bank and they come out worth millions of dollars. That should be totally unacceptable to all of you, regardless of what political party you're in. You know, like the New York girl with the big front teeth. I can't remember her name. AC or something. I think she went into office with like a few $1,000s. Now she's worth like 20 or 30 million or something. I mean, that's insane to me. I don't care what anybody says, but that's wild. That's criminal. That's got to be criminal. So, anyways, in this guy's case, he gets locked up, you know, based on the laws that those legislators passed, right? Politicians passed those laws, and then their enforcement branch, the police, the policy enforcers, enforce it. And then sometimes people get lucky and justice prevails, but it just takes a while, like this guy.
That's less than $4,000 a year for every year he spent behind bars for a murder he did not commit. Allie Meyer, Oklahoma's News 4.
Right on. That was pretty dope. And then I have this other cool video that I want to share with you from this Monder Law group. This dude's pretty cool too. He's only got like 97 subscribers, and I'm thinking, man, I'm going to share this in my, here guys, I want to drop this for you guys. Check this out, Wanda Mise. Good seeing you, Wanda. Hey, Jody. Check out this link that I'm putting in the sidebar. I'm going to play this video in a second. That's nothing, Kurt. Yeah, 175 grand. It's freaking criminal, dude. Makes me sick to my stomach. All right, so let's watch this video from, I'm going to subscribe to him right now, but his name is Monder, and he's a criminal lawyer. I don't know what state he's in, but we'll watch this video and check it out, you know, but check him out, maybe add him or something.
Hello, this is Attorney Vic Monder. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel. I am going to be talking to you, everybody who's watching this, about the different aspects of the criminal justice system. One thing I would want to talk to everybody about first is factual innocence motions. What are factual innocence motions? We get a lot of calls on these. People don't understand the Penal Code Section 851.91, the difference between that code section and the older enumerated code section 851.8. So the new code basically allows people.
So that's what I was telling you. That's what we just talked about. And that's why the forms are different too. But let's keep going.
Well, as long as the statute of limitations has run on the actual charge itself, you can file or petition the court for a factual innocence motion in order to seal and destroy those arrest records. Feel free to call my office. I file these on a weekly basis. the first things we do is basically reach out to the district attorney's office or the city attorney's office, and we see whether or not from the date when the arrest occurred, if it's a misdemeanor offense, then it usually requires a 1-year statute of limitations to expire before you can petition the court. And usually 95% of the time, the prosecution's office will be agreeable as long as the statute of limitation has run on the case. Very seldom will there be a situation where the district attorney's office may hold off on agreeing for the factual innocence motion, depending on the circumstances surrounding the offense, or if there's any future arrests that occurred after the statute of limitations is run on the previous case. So if you have questions regarding your particular case regarding factual innocence.
Hey, that was pretty good. So you can kind of see, they do change the codes around sometimes and upgrade them. And California, heck, man, hopefully my voice must be terrible. Hopefully it's better now with my mic closer. California changes their laws quite a bit, and they've sort of been on this plane of sort of reducing the punishment for certain types of crimes and then raising the standard in order for it to meet the element of what was once a crime. Like saying that as long as you don't steal anything that's $900 up, then it's not a big deal, right? And then they don't have to report it as a big deal, so it keeps the insurance rates down and helps the real estate agent sell stuff in the neighborhood because they can legitimately report low crime, but it's still high crime. It's just not reportable anymore. That's basically how that works in California. Hey, Wanda. So what's going on? Somebody's talking about Wanda and getting millions. I don't understand. What's going on, guys? Talk to me. So, oh yeah, they make big bucks, man, from locking people up. It's a racket. The private prison system is a big racket, man. Total nightmare. And the first step to getting thrown in there is getting pulled over. Usually, I'd say 99% of the people in there probably got pulled over, and somebody asked them a question, like this dude.
Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers?
Oh man, oh man, oh man. So how are you guys doing on this Friday evening? It looks like we're not going to get like a big, huge crowd, but does anybody have any questions for me about findings of factual innocence and how they operate? Because I've had a lot of people tell me that a court doesn't have the power to find someone innocent. And I take exception because they do, and it happens all the time. Now, at common law, there were different pleas at common law. There were, you could plead innocent, you could plead not guilty. So it's, it's the more ancient common law, because we're still American common law. Don't get me wrong, but when I say common law, like at common law, I'm trying to talk about the ancient common law rules where you had different ways that you could plead, and there were different types of common pleas. They even had a court of common pleas, right? I think there are still some courts called courts of common pleas. But hey, what's going on, Delete Laws? Yeah, so Delete Laws, it all started for Delete Laws when this happened, right? Chile, this is when it all happened.
Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers?
Well, I mean, I hope you guys like that. That has got to be the coolest trademark for any lawyer to have. Yeah, talk to me. Hey, James Forbes. Thanks for coming and supporting the channel, Chile. I appreciate it. I didn't even really have a lot of material provided. I should probably shoot Chile an invite and he can come and join me. I don't know. It's up to you, Chile, if you want to come in. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. I'll bet you people would love to hear about what's been going on with you and with Press with Rancor. Well, here, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send it to him from my thing right here. So just bear with me. I'm not looking at my screen, so I can't see if he's going to accept it or not, but I think he's delete laws at gmail.com. Sending you an invite right now, dude. So would love to have you. I'd love to talk to the audience about what happened with Press with Rancor. Delete. All right. So, because that's a really big deal. So anyways, yeah, Chile rocks, man. So I don't know if a lot of you guys know what happened. I just sent him an invite from my Circle of Legal Trust email, not my issue the writ one, Chile. And if you want to come and just tell us what happened, I'd love to have you on because, you know, one of our friends got, oh, he can. Okay, too bad. Someone screaming next to him. That's fine. Well, look, I'll try to talk about what happened. Let me just get this stuff off my screen. All right. I'll try to talk a little bit about what happened, but Chile had a fellow auditor who he was helping with the case, and that was Press with Rancor. And I thought it was a pretty solid case. A lot of people are saying that if you would have backed up the way that, you know, when Chile backed up, and that was, you know, a lot of people are saying that that's why Chile won his appeal. I think there were a lot of reasons Chile won his appeal. That may have been part of the reasoning, but I think Chile was a First Amendment issue because that's what the judge said. So I don't really think it mattered about going forward or backward because there was never any kind of interference. But that's just my take on it. And I think that the court got it wrong in Press with Rancor's case if the reasoning was that he needed to back up because the officers brought themselves into the danger by approaching him and getting within arm's length. And he clearly was filming. So, I mean, it's obvious that he was engaged in a First Amendment protected activity. The case would hinge on the First Amendment part of the case would hinge on whether or not there was a compelling state interest in keeping him away as far as the officer wanted him to stay away, or if there was even a compelling state interest in keeping him away at all, based upon that type of a case. And I think it would probably have to be looked at on a case-by-case basis. And then, of course, we know like some of these states are passing these 21-foot and 25-foot rules, which I think are going to be ultimately found unconstitutional because the real reason they're doing that, I mean, look, we've seen Chile's videos where they're doing the drug planting, like dropping drugs or guns on people, and they're getting caught, and a lot of it has to do with cop watchers holding them accountable and spotting them and catching them. It's not always just the police body cams, but a lot of times the police are so dumb they film themselves doing it. But other times cop watchers are catching them doing this stuff. And so it's government accountability operations. That's what's going on right now. And in this particular case, hold on a minute. In this particular case, everybody say hi to Delete Laws, Chile DeCastro. Everybody give me a bunch of ones for Chile. And for old time's sake, give me a bunch of FCs, FC. And then whoever has, because this is what I'm used to doing, where is the GoFundMe link? Where is Gloria? Gloria, somebody find Gloria and tell her to drop a GoFundMe link for Chile so he can help Press with Rancor, because I know that we're going to need to help our brother. And I don't even know the status. That's why I wanted to have Chile on. But if somebody can kind of give me an update, it sounds like he was convicted. I don't know if he was locked up. I don't know if he was immediately put into torture cuffs and taken to the dungeon or not. But I'd like to know more about it. I've been absolutely just underwater at work trying to play catch up. So anybody who can give me a little bit of a breakdown on what happened, I'll look in the sidebar here. And hey, Melania, totally good to see you. Yeah, hell yeah. And then look, somebody drop in the thing here, Chile's fundraiser. We got it. He's on the hook. Check it out, guys. He's on the hook for $30K right now. He's not locked up. Okay, cool. All right. So right now, here's what we got. So Press with Rancor is not locked up, but Chile has promised to help pay for legal fees and stuff like that. And I know that he'll do it, but he's got, Chile was locked up too. So that really affected his ability to be able to meet the bottom line. I mean, he almost lost everything, guys. He came close. I'll bet you if he hadn't gotten out when he did, things would, he was probably like on the precipice, just based on my understanding of just how things work in the real world. Wow. So thank God, everybody, that we got him out. But now we've got press with rancor. And since Chile wasn't able to make a living, he wasn't able to help as much as he could have if he had not been torture cuffed himself and thrown in the dungeon. So if somebody can help me, yeah, and KFC, I'll get you some Bluetooth glasses. Absolutely. So KFC, Mufasi, I have a company that I work with that are just super duper guys. They're like, I think one of the guys was either a pro or semi-pro baseball player. They're like really like apple pie, good, solid American dudes. And I can get you anybody on my channel. I know that they'll give you guys a break on the blue light glasses. So I don't know about Bluetooth glasses, but for blue light glasses that'll protect your eyes from these computer monitors, I can get those for you at a discount. Now, KFC manager Mufasi, everybody say hi. It's the first time I've ever seen him on my channel. But hopefully we can get a deal from KFC manager. Give me a bunch of ones for KFC manager that he'll give us all a coupon for some finger licking good chicken. And now, that's right. Delete Laws says, I was on the verge of losing my whole life. And I know you were, brother. And I really felt terrible for you. And I've seen it happen to everybody from all walks of life. False arrests, false convictions happens all the time. And sometimes people like you who are so resolute and are willing to go all the way, you were willing to do what you had to do to win. And you spent the money and won that appeal. And most people can't do that. And that's why they get you. They get you on these infractions and these misdemeanors. That's how they lock you away into the dungeon, or just lock away all your money because you just pay the fine, right? Because, man, I'll just pay the fine. But you still have that thing on your record. And that's what this was about today, about the petition for a finding of factual innocence. Now, Chile, try, if you can, paste into the sidebar any GoFundMe links that you have, please, because normally I have mods in here like Letzo TVO who would do that for me. And I just, for some reason with StreamYard, when I paste stuff, people can't click on it. It's really weird. Yeah, but hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that like and subscribe button. So anyways, guys, so Chile's out. And so the question I have for you, what do you guys think? Does Chile have the legal basis to file a petition for a finding of factual innocence in the state of Nevada? I don't know. I know in California, you do have the ability to seek a petition for a finding of innocence under the enumerated circumstances set forth in the Penal Code. Now, in Nevada, I'm sure there is something similar, but I sure would like to know, because I don't think it's over. I think that he should look into that, because you want to have that thing completely gone. It's different than an expungement. I know that. It's an actual finding that you were innocent. Ab initio, in other words, from the start. And that's what you want. You want to have that. Now, yeah, man, I'm going to mod you up right now, brother. Hold on. I'm trying to. Shit. Okay, I don't know how to mod you up in StreamYard. It won't let me. So give me 1 second, Chile. I'm going to run over to my freaking doggone. I don't even know how to do it, but I'm in my sidebar right now in YouTube, and you are now added as managing moderator of the Ehline channel. Okay, guys, give a bunch of ones for the new top level manager of Ask Michael Ehline, Chile DeCastro. He's modded up. So my goal here, guys, is number one, obviously Chile got crushed by this thing, by getting locked up. And he provided a lot of good material for a lot of these frauditor type people, right? But I mean, the bottom line is he won and they kind of went quiet, right? So all I can tell you guys is, number one, the only easy day was yesterday. And, there's no substitute for victory. Good job, Chile. Congratulations. Give me a bunch of ones for Chile DeCastro that he won, that we got him out of that freaking dungeon. That was freaking awesome, man. It was just off the charts. Like, to this day, like, I still can't believe it. It's just so amazing. So awesome. I mean, it's those little victories that count, you know, because it's a big victory to him, but in the grand scheme of things, nobody cares unless they've been affected directly by this kind of nonsense where they're getting falsely arrested or they're just trying to engage in government accountability operations, right? So we've learned a lot from this experience, have we not? Yeah, that's right. Chile won, buddy. That was really cool. So anyways, guys, that's kind of what's going on. I'm going to really quick here just show you what happens now when you get pulled over in California when you have your car modified. So right now in California, they can literally pull you over and take your car away. If you're from out of state and you have, like, your car's too loud or something, they can just take your car from you. It's just wild. They call it state reffing. They can, like, give you a ticket and force you to go to a state referee. And the state referee has to, like, give you stickers that, like, makes everything legal. And if not, and you get pulled over again, even if you paid your fine, they can take your car. And so the first thing they do when they walk up to your window is they ask you questions like,
"Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they?" "Oh, you don't have any papers? To the car, they're going to come with you."
Yeah, they really do. They'll ask you that. They'll just pull up right alongside and they'll get you. Yeah, for reals. Hold on, man. KFC. Hell yeah, KFC manager Musafi. I love this guy. Chili, is this your buddy? Because if he is, he's freaking dope, man. I love this dude. All right. I think that you need to have him out at a 40-degree angle. And I think no matter what you do in California, the thought police are going to find a way to get you. If you got a car that's too loud, if it smells like blown alcohol, if it's got a cold air intake, you know, like a K&N air filter, if you've got a catback exhaust, even if you got it chipped, you know, just because you want to just be you want to be that man out there with a dragster. Like when my dad was growing up, you know, they did the drag racing. If you want to be that kind of guy, you can't be that in California now. You've got to be like this Orwellian, conformist, 15-minute cities, off to the concentration camp, off to the Clark County Detention Center, treated like you're trash, like you're just garbage, creating jobs for people and jading people, creating these jobs that make them parasitic to the state, where these people have to lose all of their spirit and their soul. They have to in order to enforce these edicts and things that inside they know is wrong. They know that it's sinful and evil inside. These people that work at these jails and stuff, they know what they're doing is wrong. They know it. So anyways, James Forbes is German. That's pretty cool. Was ist los, mein Herr? Guten Abend. I'm a Swedish, Norwegian, and German. So I think that's a pretty cool combo. That's right, Melania. Team DLZ and ME Central. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. No, I'm thinking it's going to have to be with KFC manager Musafi. So check it out, guys. These state ref tickets are freaking unbelievable, man. Like they'll literally, like a guy can come in from Arizona and drive into California, and just because his pipes are too loud, they'll pull him over. He may not have a front plate, for example. Like some states may not issue a front plate. Like there's like Alberta, Canada, for example, they don't issue front plates. So you're driving through California, they pull you over and say, well, you have to be in compliance with California law or we can take your car. And it's like, or you can't be on the road. So you got to put your car on a flatbed truck. You got to get it out of the state. I mean, it's unbelievable, dude. This is just like unfreaking believable to me. Like, is this our country? Like America, really? I mean, it sounds like a police state. It's just unbelievable what's going on. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. So, yeah, hell yeah, man. So one of the cool things, I guess, for Chile is, yeah, so he was locked away, but like all the people on the outside, like those people that he built relationships with over the years, or even like just quickly, whatever, people who supported him were helping him out and helping him get through his situation. So he had, the guy is intelligent enough to where he understood the power of the group and how like-minded people can help each other. And, to be a game changer, you can't just do it by yourself. And so you guys helped him And I think he was really touched by that. So, give me a bunch of ones for yourselves. Give you guys all a hand that you help somebody, like just some other dude who was standing up for your rights. So I think that's really cool. So Wanda, that's really cool. Yeah. KFC manager always spitting the facts. Man, I still don't know who you are, dude, but with that sense of humor, I think you and BZ Watchdog should be hanging out, because you guys could probably make some Jerky Boy type albums and make a fortune. But yeah, Mike V Dog, dude, I'm loving this I'm loving all this attention, because after you've been married for 20 minutes, you don't get attention anymore. So anyways, hey, I don't know. A lot of you guys probably know that I was Rodney Dangerfield's limousine driver. You probably didn't know that. Yeah, I really was. So I had a limousine company, American Limousine. It was based out of San Diego, Carlsbad, actually. And we used to park our limos at that smorgasbord place over there, don't you know? Because they had a big parking lot. And I used to take Rodney Dangerfield to Nevada, and it was pretty cool. And I learned a little bit about humor and stuff. And he discovered Sam Kinison. And it's funny because sometimes when I see Chile out there talking to cops, I see a little bit of Sam Kinison. It just blows me away. I don't know. Give me a bunch of ones if sometimes Chile reminds you of Sam Kinison. I don't know. There was that one video that it was a Sam Kinison video, Back to School. I'm going to try to find it for you guys. So just bear with me. It was a Back to School video where he was talking about Vietnam, right? And he's like a professor. And Sam Kinison says, good answer. It's just so good, man. I know it's a little bit off topic, but it'll give us a chance to start putting Chile's GoFundMe links in the sidebar, everybody. Everybody, please start putting the GoFundMe link for Press with Rancor in the sidebar while we're here talking, wasting time. And what I'll do is I'll show you who I think Chile sometimes, obviously Chile's in way better shape than this dude, right? I mean, give me a break, right? Now, Sam Kinison used to be a Southern Baptist preacher, and Rodney discovered him. And one time I was driving Rodney out to Nevada from Wilshire Boulevard in LA in my stretch, in one of my stretches. And he was talking to his wife, this really beautiful blonde lady. She was super nice. I think she was about 40 years old, and she just looked amazing and just treated him like just the best. Super nice lady. I think she was from Utah, and she just helped him. And I pick him up from their apartment. It was like a condo, and got to go into their house once and check it out, and all the pictures of all the years of him being a comedian. But anyways, Sam Kinison was Rodney Dangerfield's greatest discovery. And when he would talk about him in the back of the limo, I got to listen to 5 hours or 6 hours of this guy talking about Sam Kinison. And so this guy right here kind of reminds me a little bit of Chile sometimes. Not always Chile. It's not a put down at all. I mean, I just think you have this kind of sense of humor sometimes, so obviously she sounds like she probably works for CNN, right? So anyways, here we go. Let's get this. Now let's get into the why Rodney Law. Man. So anyways, yeah, man, Rodney was a cool guy. So he was great. Yeah. That's right, dude. KFC manager Mufasi says on Saddam, that's pure facts. That's right, man. Yeah, you see it, don't you? You see it a little bit, right? Right, Willie? I mean, he's just got that like he can turn up the heat. Like hello is for suckers. Like that is a classic, almost like a Sam Kinison kind of a retort. It's just classic. You can't, some people are just born with this gift where they just can just light people up just with a look or just a slight deflection or inflection in their voice. Kinison was one of those guys, man. I can say ja. Mikey, can you say oh ja, oh ja, oh ja, oh ja, like a Swedishman? Oh yeah, sure, you betcha. Like from Minnesota, don't you know? Yeah. So, anyways, the problem is, one time I was driving Rodney. We were on the 55 free, the 10 going, I think, to the 215 to go north. And there was a traffic jam, and right in front of us were CHP cars that had stopped everything. I guess there was an accident. And so Rodney gets out of the car, and before anybody even had a chance to ask,
Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers?
So what ended up happening is Rodney gets out of the car and he starts walking towards these CHP dudes, and the first couple dudes kind of look panicked. Who is this old guy with his shirt open with this big scar down his chest? He had several scars because I guess he'd had open heart surgeries. He was old, like 78 or something like that when I was driving him. And he was, his wife flipped out and told me to get out there and help him. And before I could even get out of the car and get the door open, the cops all immediately recognized him and they were all approaching him and like shaking his hand. It was unfreaking believable. Just blew my mind. And what ended up happening is he starts giving them autographs. They've got their little leather books and he's writing them autographs and all the, and so I'm sitting in the car and because his wife was like, get out there, get out. And then she calmed down when she saw what happened. And all of a sudden, I was like, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rodney Dangerfield. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So they gave us an escort up to the 215 going north. I think it's the 215 north. Just my limo and just one of the CHP cars that was there on the scene. Scout's honor. That's a true story, guys. You know, like I've had a really cool life, done a lot of cool things before I was a lawyer. And that was definitely one of the highlights. I would come out to Nevada. He'd put me up at the MGM or one of the other hotels, penthouse, stay the night, drive him back the next day. I think he was making like, maybe it was $1 million every time he performed out in Nevada. And so he hated airplanes. He wouldn't fly. I'm out of material, so I'm just talking about stuff that I did that's kind of related because it's law enforcement. But yeah, he wouldn't fly because people would hit him up at the airport all the time and bug him. And he hated that because, you know, he had health issues, guys. I mean, he had several open heart surgeries and he was really messed up. And, but a super good guy, I thought. He was always kind to me and no ego issues at all. Let me into their house to check out all the cool stuff and like all the cool pictures and pictures of all these celebrities from throughout the years that he'd known, Johnny Carson, all this cool stuff. And yeah, so ultimately what ended up happening, I think, is that Sam Kinison, I think, was like in a head-on collision. Maybe it was like alcohol related. I don't remember. I think in Nevada, actually, I think. And he passed away, and Rodney just never got over that. Like he really looked at Sam, I believe, like it was like a surrogate son to him. Like that was his greatest discovery. So hopefully I got to share something with you guys that nobody else will ever learn by watching CNN or Fox News. Somebody who actually knew Rodney Dangerfield, who's never going to get invited on any of those shows. Yeah, that's right. Delete laws. That's cool that you came back. So listen, guys, anybody who's got Chile's link for his GoFundMe, throw that in there for me. And let's help out Press with Rancor. Last night, I was kind of like going back and forth to check out what was going on over there. Cause I just couldn't believe it, because I don't believe that stepping backwards or forwards is the issue in that case. So I think it's filming, that the cops don't like to be filmed. And I think that we need to have some law on this. And what Chile just said, what did he say? Hold on. Yeah, we have to change things from the top down. It's right there. Look, right there. Chile says we have to change things from the top down. And I 1,000,000,000% agree. And, one of the ways, unfortunately, right now you have to do it is to dig in deep and support these charitable causes that are engaged in government accountability operations. And, when you have people who live like paupers who are willing to dedicate their life to holding the government accountable, it kind of makes you a little motivated, want to help them out, right? So somebody, if you can, there it is. Gloria. Hey, Gloria. Woohoo! All right. Thanks, Gloria. So Gloria is like my buddy. She's I think she's my super moderator or whatever they call them. And so click on that link. That'll help. We can support Press with Rancor and also Chile, because remember, Chile is, he's like the main steering committee guy. He's got all these causes that he has to support, and he needs help. So, I'm here also to ask you to please understand, I spend an enormous amount of my time on this channel, and keeps me from working and making a living. And I'm happy to do it because I love doing it. I love helping people. But I feel like it would be nice if you could at least support people in my parallel system, because I'm all about building parallel systems. And so if I can donate my time online to help support a cause like Chile's causes, or like BZ Watchdog's causes when he's doing these public records requests, that's a beautiful thing, because that helps make the world a better place for everybody, and my kids too. And that's another reason why I do believe, I don't want to get too far off track, but it's a great idea to have kids if you can, because it makes you more of a stakeholder in the planet, knowing your protective instincts automatically want you to leave the world a better place for your kids. So just think about that. So always keep that in mind. Be fruitful and multiply. Give me a bunch of ones for all the mothers who are brave enough to break the stereotypes and stay home with their kids to make sure that both their kids always have a loving mother in the house and they're not raised by a maid or some public school teacher. Amen to that. Roger that. Well, guys like me destroy our bodies and everything, working 18 hours a day. So that's the model that's for success. So right on, James. Good for you, brother. James Forbes had 2 boys. And I'm not saying everybody needs to do that, but I think it's super important. You know, I think you'll be a better steward for the planet as a person if you have a stake by leaving your offspring behind, because you're automatically going to want to make it better for them. So that's one of the reasons why I donate a lot of my time. But I do appreciate it when you guys buy my book. I have my ebook, How I Became an Attorney with No Undergrad or Law Degree. And it's pretty cool. It's my journey on how I did it, how I got through the CLEP, and a little bit of the history of the law study program. And I talk about law study programs in other states, the equivalency. I think there's one in Alaska that I discuss. If any of you guys are living in Alaska and want to become lawyers, check it out. But it's just more about my journey. It's not necessarily about me, but just like the practical aspects, like how to find a lawyer, to study under, understanding the psychology behind, what you're doing. You can't expect people to pay you. You have to be willing to work for free. You have to have a mindset that they're giving their time and that's worth money to you. That's one of the reasons why I never took money from Chile, because he was teaching me how to do StreamYard and do the videos and give me some tips on how to edit and stuff with Premiere Pro. So I was like, well, that has value. So he doesn't need to give me money. He's already given me some help. So that has value. See how that works? So with a parallel system, just because you can't give money doesn't mean, like with Chile, for example, that you couldn't go out and try to find people with like lawyers and try to get them to donate money to his cause, so they could get maybe their link put on his website, right? Like maybe Chile could have a sponsor page on his website, and you have a friend who's a lawyer, and what you could do is they could donate like $200 a month to have their link on his website on one of his sponsor pages somewhere, and they're getting traffic from that, so it's good for everybody, because they're supporting Chile, which is ultimately supporting you guys and giving you good quality content and holding the government accountable. So just think about that. I always want you guys to always think about developing parallel systems and understanding that you can do trades. I helped start the LA Fitness Health Club in Anaheim Hills, right there off Santiago Canyon Road. I was their #1 salesman at that location. And that was when Chinyol Yi and Lewis Welch took that over from Steve Griffin. He had the Orange County. It was Orange County Athletic Club. Then I think it became it was another one. And then after that, they bought that. I worked for OCAC before I went into the Marines. I used to clean the gym every night in exchange for membership, because I always lifted weights. Anaheim Hills right there, guys. Canyon High School, yo. So, all right. So Brick Jonesy, good to see you, dude. Right on, man. KFC says he would donate $200 a month if you want me to. Well, KFC, I think that you should do whatever your God and your heart calls you to do. But I do think that these causes like Chile's are very rare. You're not going to get them on the mainstream media because it's outside that. So I think that you need to always just be thinking about developing parallel systems and finding things, people that you like and trust who you can support. So now Gloria I really appreciate you always helping out, moderating, and keeping out all the trolls. So I'll share a little story with you. When I first started doing this, Chile was locked up and I was getting frauded or whatever, like those guys were, people were coming in and I was all about free speech and letting everybody come in, and people were saying, no, keep them out, keep them out. Miss Constitutional Rights, I think, almost had a heart attack because I was letting all these, what they call trolls in, and I didn't know what a troll was. And so anyway, some of these guys got to me and really messed with me a little bit, but I talked to Master Chile. I went and visited him at the dungeon, and he helped me understand that you just have to ignore those people and just have your moderators block them. And he said, trust me, Mike, just do what I'm telling you to do. Get the moderators, get my moderators, he told me, get my moderators and have them moderate your sidebar. And so that's what I did. And it changed everything. And now everything's amazing. And so again, thank you, Chile, for this amazing advice. It was amazing. Yeah, heck yeah, man. Rick Jones, he says 1A all day, 2A in every way. Hey, so did you guys like that story about Rodney Dangerfield? I thought that was a cool story. Just to have an opportunity to know who that guy was, wow, that guy was an icon, and see, a lot of the guys in my channel are old enough to know about the movie Back to School. By the way, I just thought of something. I played that clip. I hope I don't get in trouble. Guys, somebody tell me in the sidebar, am I going to get in trouble for playing that little clip of that school scene? Or will they give me a strike for that? Man, because I thought that was really cool. KFC manager, you've got to know the answer to this. You're clearly running an IQ of about probably 180 based upon that cool name that you have. And I think you know the answer, the righteous path of Chile. Yes, that's right, man. That's right, the righteous path. It is a righteous path. It is a path less followed, that's for sure. That is for sure. Right on, Brick. Yeah, I thought he was the best. My dad really liked Rodney too. Now, you guys know something. Rodney was actually like an Olympic diver. He was like that good. And in those movies where they had the divers, that was really him doing the diving. A lot of people don't know that. Rodney was the man. Okay, Chile says I won't get in trouble. They will give you a copyright and give you a chance to remove it. So what do I do? Just like cut that little section out with a clip, like a pair of scissors or something? Because I sure don't want to take down the whole video because we're having a good time. But I thought it was a great scene. I mean, right, guys? I mean, showing that Sam Kinison skit, that sucks that they won't let us show that because it's just like a little variety show skit. But that's right, Chili. Oh, it was synchronized swimming. Brick Jonesy says that it was synchronized swimming oh no, there was that one scene where he did, I think, synchronized swimming, right? In was it the Chevy Chase one? Caddyshack. One of those. Man, those were really great movies, like the Caddyshacks and the Back to Schools. Like they really, and like, remember Kentucky Fried Movie, guys? Like that was a really cool, they had drive-ins when we were growing up where they put those boxes on the side of your car. Just the coolest thing. Yeah, Chili for governor, man. Chili for governor. Now, KFC manager says that he's going to talk to YouTube so I won't be in trouble. Well, I appreciate that, KFC manager Mufasi. Chili, how is it that you're able to attract guys like KFC manager Musafi who have so much power and authority over YouTube? It blows me away. Hey, right on. James Forbes got the new member icon. Boom. Now, James Forbes, remember, if you ever get pulled over, you're going to have to, you're going to deal with something like this.
Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers?
So you know what that means, right? If you don't have papers, you have to have a cop card. And I don't have Chili's cop card with me. But what I can do is I'll I'll pretend like this is the trifold. And when the copper pulls you over right here, you're going to say to the copper, I take my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. I rely on my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Read that right there. And you have to say it. And I'm going to say that. I'm going to show him that. And in the sidebar, guys, put Chile's, there it is right there. Trifold and Gloria's already got it, man. Gloria, you are on it. See, you're the kind of people I need to help me run my law firm. I would be a multi-million-dollar law firm right now till the end of time by people like you guys running the show. Complying Borg is here. Complying Borg in the house. Woot, woot, woot. Woot, woot, woot. Complying Borg. Complying Borg. How did you get here? I need to know a little bit about how Complying Borg actually got here. Complying Borg, I'm going to have to ask you to answer me this question.
Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers? To the consecration capital.
Oh man, don't you guys love that? It's just like the best. I can't get over it. What does this guy think? I think I'm going to get in trouble for playing that video. I don't know. Well, this girl was pretty cool. So anyways, guys, I'm probably going to call it quits in a minute. I wasn't really prepared to have Master Chili show up and not have like a lot of cool material. Instead, I probably got in trouble with the copyright gods for showing a Rodney Dangerfield clip. Because homie don't play. What's up, James Forbes? But so give me a couple more clicks in the sidebar there. Just demanding papers, yeah. Where are your papers? I love it. So just put in well, that's what I think too, Melania. I think it is fair use. I mean, I was just telling a little bit of a story about me. I mean, the way it is to me, about me, my relationship with Rodney Dangerfield, the connection between Sam Kinison, and how Sam Kinison reminds me sometimes, just some of his characteristics of Chile, how Chile's able to like turn it up real quick and come up with these real witty, snappy comments like, hello is for suckers. I mean, that's like the classic Sam Kinison thing. I mean, honestly, this dude could have his own TV series. He could kill it with like a TV, you know what I mean? Like a show, like almost like a Larry David sort of cop watcher. I don't know. I just think he could kill it, man. I don't know. Give me a bunch of ones if you think Chile could kill it with his own sort of reality show. Oh, I know what you're saying. No, but no, you're the master of your realm, I guess is what I'm saying. You're not a master over humanity or anything like that, but of your realm of what you do, you're the master. Give me a bunch of ones for the fact that Chile is the master of his trade, like a black belt, right? In judo or jujitsu. Come on, guys, you get it. You know, you got the cauliflower, all that stuff that you're a master of that, not of other people. Don't take it the wrong way, because we don't want that. I don't want that. Yeah, a bunch of ones. Yeah, that's right. He's got the master of his trade. That's right. And also, as Britt Jonesy correctly has pointed out many times, Chile also has a plan. See, a lot of people that just go out and they do the videos and they hope that they can get a lawsuit filed, which we all know is crazy, right? Because it's so difficult to win. You can't go out there with the object has to be government accountability. That's it. So, you know, people go out there and they don't have a game plan. They just go out there and they're just trying to rile people up, right? But Chile's actually got like a focused plan, like a mission statement where, you know, he could become governor and have the ability to really be a game changer. And look, already, I think he just passed 600,000 people. I mean, he's becoming dangerous at this point. I mean, he's getting millions of views. That's millions of people that have seen him and heard him. Not everybody subscribes, right? For whatever reason, but they know who he is. They've seen him. He's out there. I mean, that's more than a lot of people get on like these shows like CNN or whatever. mean, that's real. Like, this guy's got reach, and I think people are starting to catch on. But the problem is, who controls the algorithm is the administrative state. And, guys like Chile are going to get shut down at some point, just like me. That's why I always say, you never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. So we have to be really careful and develop parallel systems. So if one breaks, we have an alternative system already in place. So if we're swept from all of these Leviathanic platforms, maybe there's another place to go. I've heard Rumble's good. I've heard Patreon. I don't know. I'd like to hear from somebody who just can think of a neutral place where it's not political, where we don't have that going on, where we can talk about the things that really matter for the short period that we're here on Earth, the things that really matter, instead of all these dumb things that the state throws at us to keep us divided from asserting our rights fully. And that's what I think we need to be working on more. So that's right, Chile. You're exactly right, brother. That's why they locked you up. Give me a bunch of ones for that, guys. The reason why they locked him up is because he's out there as a game changer. That was super brave, super impressive. That, I was calling you Braveheart and stuff, like you were the modern version of Braveheart. And I was partially kind of joking around, but I wasn't at the same time. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Complying Borg? I think you know what I'm talking about. I mean, that's just how he is, man. It's like, wow, the caution tape thing was unbelievable. I mean, that was some of the best material you'll ever see on the planet. I mean, out of this world. And he didn't do anything wrong. He was directed there. He was literally funneled into a zone of swarming danger, of dangerous people with weapons who didn't know why he was there. Bad communication with the officers. The officers that were there didn't even know where the crime scene was, because he wasn't in a crime scene. He was actually just filming, not doing anything wrong, directed there by another officer. Total joke case. Ridiculous. So that's the other thing, guys. Like, it's not over yet for Chile. Now we have Press with Rancor. He's locked up. And then, Chile has other legal stuff he's got to deal with. So, we still got a lot of stuff we got to work on, guys. This is not even close to being over. So, Chile could be a definite game changer. Governor. And I think that not just governorship, Chile, but I think that you should be helping me encourage everyone to be lobbying their local legislators to get things like civil asset forfeiture laws overturned on a state by state level. I'm already looking at exploring that with a couple of other lawyers. I think it should be something where we work on a national legislation for the federal, and that we work with our YouTube partners all throughout all the states to, at a grassroots level, get civil asset forfeiture laws overturned in all the states of the union. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree we need to do that. I think that is right up there with Terry versus Ohio. It's a taking. It's an unjust taking. It's a crime. It's a racket that these police get an 80% kickback, the departments, of whatever they can confiscate in cash or whatever else that could be the fruits of that particular seizure, right? They can get their access on that, get their hands on that, and use that money and that helps them get promotions, right? Hey, look, I brought in $1 million, Sarge. Hey, Chief, look, I'm going places. That's how they do it. That's the bureaucracy, guys. It's you're the target. And now we know there's evidence that the people who drive nicer vehicles are being targeted because the police know that the older vehicles, they usually don't have insurance or money, and they'll just skip anyways, and DAs aren't doing anything, right? So right now they're just going after the people that can afford it. So you're on the target list next, guys. It's getting wild out there, guys. So you too, Stacy. Well, so everybody, I hope that I don't get in trouble from Rodney, from playing Rodney. But hey, didn't you guys kind of think Chile was kind of like Braveheart in the end, though? The way that he kind of stood up to the king, and he ultimately, unlike Braveheart, was vindicated, because the real Braveheart had like his guts and stuff thrown out all over the place and like burned in front of him while he was still alive. Pretty wild stuff that they did back. back then when you did stuff against the state, right, they would like put you, hang you on like on a thing, and like they cut your body parts and throw them on a fire in front of you, maybe even make you eat like your genitals or whatever, stuff them in your mouth. It was really terrible because they wanted to make an example to everybody that you can never go against the state. And so when America came along, it really changed a lot of that. It was like now the sovereign power of the king was invested in the individuals. And so they no longer had an overseer. They were sovereign among themselves. And so because of that, they formed a republic, and they had a social construct where they worked based upon natural law and natural rights. And they opposed powerful centralized control over people's lives. They wanted everybody to be able to have freedom and individual rights as long as other people didn't infringe on their rights. And so there were certain rights that were enshrined in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and they were intended to be, politicians and the government were intended to be constrained with the chains of the Constitution, where those could never be taken away. And that was the idea behind a republic, is that no matter what, the only way those rights can ever change is by a constitutional convention, not through the courts. And that what's happened is the courts have been used to erode those constitutional rights. And that's something that Chile talks about a lot. And I've even seen his really cool, he's got this really badass like timeline on this wall of all the Supreme Court justices. And he's able to recount all their names, the historical dates, the passages of laws, and how it's eroded our unalienable rights, and how our rights actually were converted into privileges. It sort of talks about that. And really interesting stuff that I know someday Chile's going to have a series out about that. But that'll be really fun to see, guys. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys would pay a lot of money to see something like that. All right. Yeah, and I think also Chile, voting is good, but I think lobbying is super important, especially like with 600,000 subscribers and maybe having all of them going out, even if only 10,000 of them were able to get mustered right out of the 6, they could all be like an Amway squad and go out and do signature drives and start contacting their own local representatives with letter writing campaigns. And we could help them use ChatGPT to create letters to write their local congressmen and senators to help them do it. Here, write me a letter, blah, 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 whatever, right? We can do that. So I just think that it would be really great to not just try to run for governor, but build your platform on the fact that you were the guy that was behind that letter writing campaign on a nationwide scale, that petitioning campaign on a nationwide scale to overturn civil asset forfeiture laws and to try to overturn Terry versus Ohio as well, by using that to propel yourself into a governorship where you'd be able to start getting judges on the bench that would do that for you, because it's a judge created law. So the only way you can get rid of it is with judges, right, guys? You think about that. So, well, that's great, man. Well, guys, I'm really super happy that Chile was able to get out, and his shows have been spectacular. And I know that we really took a beating, a real knocking the other day. It always hurts when somebody that is on your team suffers a loss, but I'm super happy at least he didn't get torture cuffed and immediately locked up. So everybody, please put your prayers, have your prayers out there for Press with Rancor, and please donate liberally to his campaign to help him be able to fund whatever's coming next as far as an appeal or whatever he's facing as far as past due legal fees or whatever it might be. Now, I Vote DLZ says we will raise funds and Chile will be governor. Then we will show how it's done. That Terry stop. That's pretty cool, man. I mean, I have no doubt that you guys can do that. I mean, I'll be honest, seeing what a lot of you guys have accomplished in the short time that I've been doing these shows is quite astonishing. I mean, that victory that Chile had, it still just blows my mind. It's a historic event, because government accountability operations have never really been done in a way that really enforced accountability, really.
I mean, going in there and enforcing poster 7, trying to understand why these people have 1-star reviews at the post office. So you're filming to hold them accountable, right? That totally legitimate public, I think, legitimate purpose. All that stuff is just everything has changed. And so you're in their face trying to hold them accountable. And then what do? They try to lock you up. Now, when I was growing up and we tried to do stuff like that, they didn't have body cams and all. They would just smash our cameras and beat us up and then arrest us for a 148. That's just the standard operating procedure in California. And, I was a skater, so I was always skating down at the blowhole there off Weir Canyon, kind of like Yorba Linda and Anaheim Hills. And the cops would always come down there and harass us, like punk rock, right? Skateboard, thrasher. And yeah, man, like just always treating us bad for no reason. Give me a bunch of ones if that sucked for you. Because when my dad grew up, he said that the cops, when the 22 freeway was under construction, they would come out and watch the guys drag race. I mean, how cool is that, right? They would watch the dudes drag race. And the cops knew them, and they were peace officers. I think they were sheriff, Garden Grove, and just a different time, man. Now they're just about trying to make that bust. Civil asset forfeiture, unbelievable. Literally, like, take your cash because the dog sniffs on some drugs. And all money has been somehow contaminated with drugs based on the known statistics that all money has enough residue to where a dog can sniff it. Isn't that right, Chile? I mean, if Chile's still here, isn't that right? Yeah, a bunch of ones. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Yeah, so I just don't understand the whole deal, man. But this particular show tonight was about findings for factual innocence. So I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping it up in a couple of minutes here. But I hope you're all having a super terrific Friday. And hopefully Chile's going to do a show tonight. And if he is, I invite all you guys to go over to the Delete Laws channel. But I want, before I go, you're welcome, James. What I want, though, before I go is to have you guys, somebody post one more time, Gloria, maybe, the link to the donations page so we can get Chile a little bit of a bump so we can help him out with some of these cases. And that would be really cool. That would be really appreciated. And if not, I'm going to have to ask you to go ahead and take your desk on down to the basement. So anyways, right on. You're welcome, Brick. And so, Brick, check it out, dude. I really do believe like you could be instrumental in this, where we could start a letter writing campaign. We help people draft letters so they can send them off to their local representatives. Like, we teach them how to find out who their local representative is for where their zip code and address is, right? Simple stuff that most people won't figure out, like intuitively, right? But we can help. We'd set up a website. We could even do it on the Delete Laws site. We could set up a page where we list the representatives for each area. It's really hard to find in one spot. So we could centralize the data, and then we could create dunning letters, basically, where they could click on them and it automatically fills in the data for their representative. And then they have basically what amounts to a letter, and then they can just edit it accordingly. And we could just make it easy. I know we could do it, guys. I just don't have the funding or the ability myself to do it alone. I think you could do it with JavaScript or maybe Python. I know there's a way it could be done. Fillable forms. I know it's got to be doable. Thanks, Gloria, for the super sticker. That's super nice of you. But you know what I'm saying, Brick? Like, we could do that. Like, that would be something that we could do right now that would really not cost much. It would just be time. It would require us knowing someone who has some basic coding skills, some basic understanding of, the internet. Like, I know a lot of stuff, but I'm not that skilled where I could do it where it's really nice. But if we could do something like that, that would be, I know it's doable, guys. I've seen stuff out there, all you're doing is you're just typing it in like you're sending an email. You're filling in spaces. All we're doing is asking like canned questions and then filling in a form, because we have a database that we can pull from with all the representatives. The problem is they're always moving around from different offices, and
we're attacking it at a local level as well as at the federal and national level. That's a lot of work to create that database. And a lot of people, it's hard for them to understand what's the difference between their state rep, their federal rep. They don't know. So you got to help them. And that's the problem. Most people, they don't learn that in school. The schools don't want you to know that, guys. That's what I keep telling everybody. Like, that's why I believe in the homeschooling and homesteading and creating parallel systems where they teach civics, and you have like traditional classical education where you're learning like the classics, you're learning Greek and Latin and all the traditional stuff that really expands your mind, to where you can really be a critical thinker, not the Rockefeller thinker. Remember, our education system was brought over here by Rockefeller. It was sold to all the different local cities in exchange basically for him building a building for him. Here, institute my curriculum. But it was Prussian. It was because the Prussian army got defeated by Napoleon and they retreated against their officers' orders. And so the way the King of Prussia decided that would never happen again was to create this public school system, which is basically like a prison where you have a bell like Pavlov's dog. You go in groups everywhere you go. You're marching, right? You learn groupthink. Whatever the schoolmaster says, whatever the new political groupthink is, that's what the order of the day is. That's what it's all about. It's an administrative state. And so that was imported over here by Rockefeller because he said, I want a nation of workers. I don't want a nation of thinkers. We can create our own from our own stock, our own rich wealth, our Rockefeller, our rich friends, right? We can create the judges. We can create all the wealth. And then, you go over to Chile and you see his chart, and you can see how all these power brokers and these wealthy guys were able to do that, and how much influence they had over the judicial selections and over the courts. It's unbelievable. It's shocking. It's mind-bending when you look at this. It'll just blow you guys away. So anyways, yeah, that's right, man. Hell yeah. Team DLZ. And okay, so check it out. Gloria Ad says, my son has learned more in homeschooling than ever in public school. Well, right on. Good for you. And Complying Borg says, what does a baby computer call his dad? Data. Oh man, that is great. I keep wanting to get offline, and then I get drawn back in. This is great, man. I love this. Here we go. Check it out. Delete Law says, William Archibald Dunnan worked with Sisters of the Confederacy. I believe that, man. Man, the Rockefellers, they are responsible for what is now our modern public education system, the national education system, California teachers, so all the teachers unions, all these academics. Now they have the Safety Act in California where the parents don't have the right to know what's going on with their kids at school. The teachers can keep secrets from parents. And so parents are pulling their kids out of the schools and leaving the state. A lot of people are afraid it's going to follow them to the next state because California is like a cancer. So people are terrified if they have kids, what's going to end up happening, because a lot of people can't afford to just up and move, right? It's just awful. So homeschooling is an option, but we know that Newsom doesn't like homeschooling because it hurts all the money that he can get from the teachers unions and campaign donations. So naturally they got to shut that down. Plus it's harder to have groupthink mind control when there's people that are learning critical thinking and learning how to like, for example, when you homeschool, you can also teach your kids about things like entrepreneurialism, how to balance a checkbook, just things that they really need to know, not how to just nod your head and go along with it, whatever the latest thing is, like, whatever the latest war, or whatever the government's selling on all the news channels, right? Right, Chile? Give me a bunch of ones. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And then Katie Frizzle, what's going on, Katie? Good seeing you. And then this is a public service. Is that where you are, Michael? No. Cali, I think, is in Colombia or something. It's like a cartel, I think. Hey. Delete Law says they are bought by special interests. The torture cuff companies own Congress, all of them. I'll tell you something. The prison industrial complex is a racket. And, I was thinking about this the other day, Chile. We have, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but Venezuela, we know that a lot of their prisons have been emptied out, and a lot of those guys have been caught up in the United States because they're just walking across the border. And who doesn't benefit more than a prison system in the United States if they actually lock these guys up, right? I mean, if they're getting locked up, a lot of, like on Fox News, they're saying that they're not locking them up, that they're letting them out. But imagine if they are locking them up, how much money that could generate to the prison system. I mean, that would be huge, right? Like, so, like all the liberal, whatever, local mayors eventually will have to give in and say, okay, we agree, we'll go ahead and start locking people up, right? Think about it from a political point of view, right? Okay, we wanted to abolish the police, but now it's gotten out of hand, so now we're going to go ahead and start locking people up. But what it really is, there's a lobbyist behind them with a checkbook going, okay, I'll tell you what, just start enforcing this much of the laws. Once the prison's generating 100 million, in profit, because it's for-profit prison, because it's private, we'll make sure your campaign gets this much money. Or, we'll build a park over here. We'll name it after you or your grandfather. That's really how it is, right? Oh, by the way, gold and silver is not, if that just showed up somewhere in your backyard, we wouldn't know anything about that either, right? Right? Think about that. So there you go. That's why Thomas Aquinas talked about the idea of you needed to know the law and mean to keep it well, that you wanted to always have people who are honorable, who are in positions of power, people who would step down and not try and become tyrants. And that's always the hardest part. And that was the beauty of the Republic, is that it put in checks and balances to make that happen. But unfortunately, it was also the idea of the Republic was based upon having moral and honest people in positions of power. It was very important in order for that whole idea of a constitutional republic to function. And right now we see that, like, communist China has so much influence over our university system, and our enemies have so much influence over the political messaging. Like, the minds of our youth are being destroyed. They don't learn anything about the Bill of Rights or the Constitution, and like guys like Chile can get them, guys like Chile can get their attention and pull them in. And that's one of the reasons why I like to stream in vertical, because it gets the younger crowd, I think, because they're using more of their phones. Because I think the message, especially these guys that are getting state refed in California, they're losing their cars because they're modified and they're cool and they're souped up. They're sick of it. They're sick of the nanny state. And so guys like that are our natural allies, and we should be going after those guys as part of our movement to create parallel systems. Like Chile says, be game changers, but create a parallel system to enable that to happen. Parallel systems, homesteading, homeschooling, only doing business with each other, even if it's at a premium. If you have to pay more, the people in my sidebar right here all should be trading information and doing business with each other. Anyways, with that being said, I'm going to hit it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. Semper Fi, do or die.